All right. Thank you for joining us. I can't believe this is our fifth Chase the Lion Zoom. We only have one more week left. Next week is our last week. And I am so excited to be kind of getting to the end of this book with you, not because I want it to be over, but because it feels so good, doesn't it, to like complete something and to read it and to be able to absorb everything that's in there. And there was so much good stuff in our reading for this week. So we are through chapter 17 now. So just so you know, for next week, you're going to finish the book. That's your little hint for what I usually tell you at the end, but we're going to be finishing it next week. So if you haven't already, I know some of you have already peeked ahead and finished it out, but if you haven't already, you can finish the book before next week. But how are you guys liking it? I mean, use the chat. I want to just hear from you a little bit this morning. Are you guys still feeling like this is kind of impacting you and, changing the way you see things and encouraging you to, I just saw that text from earlier, Deborah. That's funny. Encouraging you to push harder and to, go after goals. Chelsea Gilbert, I love it. I've recommended this book to so many people, you guys. I don't know about you, but I know so many people who this can benefit both in and outside of our industry. Very enlightening. I love that, Angela. Hey, girl. Yes. Be a part of something, empowering one another. I'm so thankful for that as well. Just knowing that we have the opportunity to have this kind of community is amazing, isn't it? Breath of fresh air. I know. I think sometimes to myself that if I'm reading stuff like this and stuff that's encouraging, it's always breathing that fresh life into me, and when I'm not, or if I have a season where I haven't really spent the time, it's easy to get negative, isn't it? Reinforcing journey. I love it, love it, love it. Very cool. Pushing harder. Your team is now starting it too. Yes, I love it. We have the opportunity to influence so many people through our businesses, and it's important that we're doing it with the right things, right? That we're not hopping on our team page and putting a bunch of negative out there, but we're encouraging growth and helping them become a better person. Yes, Kim, that's one of my favorite quotes too. An inheritance is what you leave for someone. A legacy is what you leave in someone. One of my favorite quotes from this section. So true. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for feeding back. Feel free to keep using that chat as we go through here. And I wanted Aspen to jump on here with us. You guys, if you haven't had a chance to meet Aspen yet, I always tell people this, but you got to meet her. She has such a huge and amazing heart. And I'm so honored that I get to work alongside her. She loves people, you guys. She has a proven track record in our industry. She's built to the top of more than one company. She has 5 kids, so she knows what it's like to multitask and manage, and the ultimate in building into people, right? And being a mom and a wife. And I wanted her to hop on today and just, her and I are going to kind of just conversate, if you will. We're going to go back and forth. We're going to talk about some of these topics, and I just wanted to mix it up for you guys a little bit this week, and I wanted you guys to get a chance to hear from her as well. So Aspen, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. I wish I could figure out a way to like put both of our faces on the speaker view thing, but I don't know how to do that. There you are. Okay. I think I'm
looking at galleries so I can see everyone. I see some familiar faces on here. That's awesome. Some of you that I hope to get to meet at Green Carpet next week.
Yes. Who's going to Green Carpet? Can you put it in the chat, guys? And it's not too late. It's crazy. There's still tickets left. It's not too late to get there. Just pile up in a hotel. Yay! I love it.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Good deal.
Jennifer Nivens. Whoop, whoop. Chelsea. I love it, Marcy. This is awesome, you guys. I can't wait to see people. I know we were just talking at our meeting this morning, weren't we, Aspen, that we're like, if you see us and close to your section, please send us a message. Come give us a hug. Come find us. Like, we live for getting to meet you guys and spend time with you. So yay, taking some teammates. Okay, so Aspen, I know you've read this book. I know you loved it. We've talked about that. And the first kind of topic I want to pull out is on page 156, if you guys are following along in your book. And it says, I'm going to read a little quote here. Benaiah didn't start out chasing 500-pound lions. He probably started out chasing a cute little kitten named Killer. He didn't start out with 2 lion-like Moabites. He started out in 78-pound weight class in middle school. And I wanted us to kind of talk about the concept of starting small and then building from there and then going on to like chase lions and tackle things that are really huge. So can you just speak to that a little bit from your experience?
Yeah, I guess what I would say is I was definitely one of those people that when I first started in the industry, I didn't just want a little bit. You know, I saw those big numbers at the top of the income chart. I saw that freedom that could be there, but I knew for me that I had to start small. You know, I do have a lot of kids, you know, by today's standards, I guess. It doesn't always feel like a lot to me, but I knew that it was going to take a series of small, consistent steps and small goals to hit that big goal. And I knew for me that I was someone that was going to get overwhelmed if I just started chasing 40 lions right away. You know, I'd feel like the goal was too big. And I even see that, you guys, in my personal life when I'm postpartum and working to lose weight. When I look at this big, huge number that I want to lose, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I can climb that mountain or chase that lion right now, but I can focus on 10 pounds, you know? So my business was the same way. Yes, I had those big goals and I was all about momentum and running for it, but I had to have kind of those small victories along the way. I had to keep things simple because of my busy life with my kids, or I would end up feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And so keeping that focus right away on just who can I tell the story to? You know, if you're seasoned in your business and you've been in for a while, you know the drill and you know how it works. I would challenge you, what's one thing that you could maybe start doing now that's that new thing that you could do that's going to take your business further? Maybe it's something you've been holding back on. And it's a new habit that you could put in your life right now and say, okay, I'm going to start doing this. You know, I've been kind of lacking in that area, making those smaller changes at once that lead you to accomplishing the big dream or chasing that big lion. That's something I would say was helpful for me.
I love it. That makes so much sense to me. And I do like, you know, in this business that we all start out with a $99 kit. You know, we all start out the same way. That doesn't mean that we don't bring different talents and different gifts. And, you know, I think I've touched on before, if you already came in with a huge network, then it's going to be a little easier for you starting out. And for the rest of us, we have to work on building that, you know, as we go and learning. For some of you, this is maybe the first personal development style book or series that you've ever done. And some of you have done tons of them, you know? And so I think the beauty of it, though, is that it doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter your education. It matters, are you willing to put your heart and your mind to this? And we all start out in that small place and we grow and we grow and we grow. We get to the place where, yeah, we're Black Diamond, or we're hitting those goals that we wanted. We're Ambassador, we're Diamond, whatever your goal is, that we do get there. And I love, he says in here too, whether you know it or not, God is building your resume. And I have like this little like, face in my book that I scribbled in next to that, because I think it's so cool. I know that so many times we're so worried about, oh, what rank am I going to be when, and how can I accomplish this, and what can I get to? And, you know, some of these kinds of things, at least if you're probably red like me, I got a lot of red. Those are the things that go through my mind. And I stress over those things and how do I get there and what do I do? And it's like, the fact is, if you start small and you start consistent and you're building and you're doing the right actions and you're completing your steps of success and you're growing as a leader and you're affirming and loving your team, that you're moving in the direction of that stuff. And God's going to get your business there. You know, he's going to take it and he's going to, you know, honor the investment that you're making, you know, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So.
Well, and you hit on a really good point that I talk about too, is just, it's doing enough of those right things in succession, and it's doing those even when you don't feel that they're working, because there are going to be seasons in your life where it feels like, man, I'm, you know, bringing guests to 1-to-1 missions, or I'm doing wrap parties, or I'm plugging in, you know, and you don't always see the benefits, you know, you don't always see immediate. It's not like every single time that we host a wrap party, you know, everybody buys a wrap and everybody signs up as a distributor. You don't always see the fruits of that. And that's one thing I learned early on in my business years ago. I remember it was a party plan that I was with, and I remember driving 5 hours for a party and selling a lipstick at my cost because I felt like it was a little pricey, and not making anything, and driving home thinking, how am I going to tell my husband that I was just gone for X number of hours and only sold one thing? But guys, that's focusing on the here and now, that immediate payoff. And I just knew I had to self-talk right away and say, you know what? But it's about the consistency, because you never know when one person is going to change your business. And like Mary said, when you do enough of those right things and you just stay consistent in those actions, all of a sudden you see this shift. And sometimes you turn around and go, wait a second, did that just happen? And, I encourage you, especially over the summer, to make time for your business, make time for those pockets. Yeah, I want you at the pool with your kids. Yes, go on that family vacation after green carpet. Like, definitely, I want you to put in time for your family and those things, those moments you can't get back. But there's still plenty of room for your business, because I want you to get to September 15th and look back and go, wow, because I just stayed the course, and because I just kept plugging in and sending messages and, attended some events over the summer and brought some guests here and there, plugged into those Facebook parties, whatever it might be, you're not getting to September 15th going, oh, I kind of took the summer off. You're looking back at your summer going, wow, I'm reaping the rewards of staying in activity over the summer. And I've seen that time and time again in my business, you guys, where I maybe didn't want to go to an event or like a meeting or a party, but I went anyway and brought a guest who I don't know if she's really going to do anything with it. And all of a sudden, whoa, my whole business changed. And I've been that person for somebody before. Some of you may know that story. And if not, I would love to tell you sometime how one person showing up can change things. So just being in those consistent activities and chasing after those small little kittens named Killer can turn into chasing those lions and those big dreams down the road. And sometimes it's, oh my gosh, how did I even get here? I even look at this job that Mary and I have. This wasn't something that we knew 10 years ago that God was going to call us to do. It's a big role, and it's such a higher vision and than we had ever imagined. But I can look back now at my history in the industry and the heartbreak that I experienced at some points. Mary can look at her journey and go, oh, wow. Now it totally makes sense that God was going to put this lion in front of us and say, go chase this. But there were a lot of kittens that we had to chase over the last 10, 15 years that prepared us for this, that at the time we're kind of going, all right, Lord, I don't really quite understand why you're letting these things happen or why you're putting me here, but we get it now. Mm-hmm. We get it now. So I don't know if there's things in your life where you felt like, wow, I don't know why God's asking me to go through this, but I think there's a purpose. Even on a personal level, I've lost 5 babies. Yes, I have 5 kids, but there's 5 of ours that aren't here. And I don't fully understand, after each of those happened, why that was allowed to happen. But I just trust that it's for a higher purpose that maybe I don't understand. So if you've gone through a hard time in your life, I want you to remember that too, that you just never know what that next lion is that you're going to chase, or that next person that you can help or reach out to that maybe wouldn't relate to you if you didn't have that story. So that's just kind of a little bit personal, a little bit business at the same time.
I love that, Aspen. Thank you so much for sharing. And when I was thinking about this topic, I actually thought about you. You had shared that you were the guest in that room at one point, that you were that person that just happened to be sitting in there and ended up just blowing up that company in a good way, and just, I don't know, it reminds me, we never know when that one blitz card or that one time we put a wrap on somebody or, that one thing that we do is going to be really game changing. We just don't know. And I've had so many instances like that too, where I've flown somewhere for my business and got there and like no guests showed up, or maybe one or something. And there are those times where you set up a vendor booth and you don't have very many people come by. There's stuff that happens like that in your business, but everything is that forward motion. Everything is moving in that right direction, and it's practicing and it's allowing you to prepare for those things. And yeah, you don't know what's down the line. So I love that. Okay. One other thing I want to touch on before we lose you, Aspen, because I know you've got another up on here. And that is on page 162, you guys, if you're following along. He says this: your legacy isn't your dream. Your legacy is leveraging the dreams of those who come after you. Your legacy is your downlines. Funny that he used that word, right? Those you parent, mentor, coach, and disciple. You may not influence 1 million people, but who knows? You may influence one person who influences 1 billion people. And I just wanted to ask you, Aspen, from your experience, like, how has mentoring been a part of growing you? And then how have you used it to grow other people, like mentoring and, coaching and just kind of some of the stuff that I know you're good at?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd say for me, mentoring fills my soul. There's a book out there that says, and actually Cami encouraged us to read it. I think it's the Where Would You See Yourself in 5 Years, that your talent is a gift from God to you, right? Whatever talent you have. I know, Mary, you're musical in addition to a lot of things. That's your gift that God gave you. And what your gift back to God is what you do with that talent. And that can be convicting sometimes. There have definitely been times in my life where I feel like I've kind of been sitting on the sidelines and just kind of, getting by, not doing anything bad, but that's convicting for me. And that drives me to pour into other people, So I would encourage you to look at maybe what gifts God's given you and ask yourself, how can I use that to drive others? I'm a school teacher by trade, by education. And I start every day with asking the Lord, just how would you use me today? Who is it that I can be there for, that maybe you might put in my path, or that I don't even know who needs what I might post on Facebook today? Because it's so funny sometimes, and this probably happens to you guys too. There's times that Mary and I might be on a Zoom and we get a message later going, did somebody tell you my story? Because you were like talking exactly about me. And I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, but I just allow the Lord to use that. It's my passion to mentor people. I want to be the kind of mom that my kids can be proud of. And I've learned some of that even from Cammie in the short time that I've known her, how she talks a lot about, for a while she'd compare herself to her mom. Cindy is a fabulous mom. I don't think any of us could argue that she is just such a wonderful example of a godly mother. But I know Cammie kind of struggled with, I'm a work from home kind of mom. But you know what? She's like, my kids get a Cammie mom. And that's something that I've had to say to myself, that, I might have a few sisters that choose a different path, with raising their kids. We all have a lot of kids, but, and sometimes I've felt self-conscious before, like, do they think that it's bad that I'm, working or doing this or that? But I've had to embrace that my kids get an Aspen mom. And so I just look at it as, I want to be someone my kids look up to. I want to build genuine relationships with people, whether that's my former high school students that are now young adults that can look back and say, I had this Spanish teacher that believed in me. I had this Spanish teacher that knew who I was and that spoke life into me when I walked into her room, or I had this former upline in a company that I was more than a number to her. I wasn't just a paycheck, because quite frankly, I didn't do anything in that business, but she still cared about me. And that's one of Mary and I's missions with our job, is to make sure you all know that we care about you no matter where you're at in your life, in your business. And we want to be a part of that with you. So I think just asking the Lord every day, who can I mentor today? Who is going to be in the audience today that's going to maybe need to hear something from me? And that's why, like Mary said, we don't, we encourage guests at events and we encourage everybody to do that. But just so you know, when we walk into a 1 Team 1 Mission and it's maybe half the attendance that you hoped would be there, we know that those people that the Lord wants to be there are going to be there. And that person, whether it's a distributor or a guest, is going to get the love and attention, and the right people are going to be there. Same thing with this Zoom. The exact people that are supposed to be on here live today, you're on here right now. And the exact people that God has a special message for are going to get this link later and go, I needed to watch that. And so I just trust that. I think being open to the Lord's leading and calling, and being willing to step out in a bold way when he asks you to, and not be content to be on the sidelines. And sometimes, whether that's in mentorship or leadership, it's going to take you outside your comfort zone. It's going, and I that comfort zone, we say that word a lot, but it might be asking you to serve or do something in a way that you haven't before, or just even being convicted that maybe you've got some talents and abilities that he's asking you to give back by utilizing those.
I love that. That's so, so good. Aspen, thank you. I know you need to go, so I'm going to let you hop off, but
okay. Sounds great. Thank you guys
for
having me on here today. I can't wait to see you at Green Carpet.
Yay. I love it.
Let me get my buttons to work.
Okay. Bye. All right, you guys, one more thought I want to share, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what next week's going to look like. And that is 160. Okay. This is on 168. Okay. In an individualistic culture like America, we tend to overlook the power of friendship, but friendship is the nth power. Without a team, your dream will fall short of its full potential. Call it a holy club, call it the Inklings, call it what you want. But it takes a team to accomplish a God-sized dream. And I just wanted to just say this, and that is one of the most important things you're going to do as you build a business with It Works, is create a culture and create, how your team is going to function, what it's going to look like. And I think that, that's going to look different for all of us. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, a really high functioning, strong culture team out there and it works, or maybe you're leading one, maybe you have one or you're part of one. But you can see common threads with these teams. You can see that they value some of the same things. You can see that they've, set out for a goal. I see teams where, maybe somebody's making a run for ambassador and they rally their entire team around that. And it's all these people that are working and promoting that are ultimately going to create this ambassador team, right? There's that kind of stuff that happens. There's also, you can create a team of people that care about each other. You can create a team where I know Kim Haber's on this call and her team does a prayer call on a regular basis. And that's important to them. And people know they can share concerns and that they bring it together in prayer. And, there's all different things you can do, but I want you to be thinking about your team. If you don't have a team yet, or maybe you're just starting it, what do you want that culture to look like? Do you want it to be a team of integrity that's always doing the things that are right? Or do you want it to be a team where you guys are kind of fudging on the rules and, you're incentivizing people to, join by doing things that are really not compliant? Is it that kind of team? Do you want the kind of team that just has tons of heart and is staying positive? What do you want your team to look like? Write out some things this week of what you want your team to look like, both your current team and your future team. And some of you might want to do some, backtracking a little bit. You might need to go to your team and say, hey guys, I feel like, maybe we haven't been as positive lately as I would like. And as your leader, I want to make sure that I'm encouraging us to stay positive. Maybe you start putting in, your team page or your team group chat or whatever you have, some encouraging and positive quotes each day, or a verse that's impacting you, or thoughts when you get off of a call like this, or something else where you feel excited and empowered and, where you're ready to tackle something new in your business. But deciding what you want that culture and that team to look like is so important, because that's going to be setting now what your future is going to look like, for that team in some ways. So I think that can be so key and so important. So be thinking about that. Be intentional about the culture of your team. I think that's, for me, one of the things that's always been very important is I want to be known as somebody who knows how to set an atmosphere with my team. I want people to see people that I'm working with and say, oh, I can tell that they're having a positive influence, that they're making a decision to go after tough stuff and to be consistent and to have integrity. And these kinds of things I think can be so important. So I want to close with this last quote, and then I got just a couple thoughts for you guys. And it's on 159. He says, even when you feel as if you aren't making a difference, God might be using you in ways you aren't aware of. And it's not the immediate impact that matters most. It's the exponential impact to the third and fourth generations. An inheritance is what you leave for someone. A legacy is what you leave in someone. And this is so important, you guys. This is so much more. I don't know if you saw the hashtag from the call last night, but this is more than a wrap. This is so much more than a wrap. And if you haven't figured that out yet, you will, and you will very soon. This is about us being able to invest in people's lives for the long term. And when you change one person's life, you have no idea what the ripple effect of that can and will be, both inside and outside of this business, right? Because this is about people. And as Aspen alluded to earlier, we care about people beyond where you are in your business, beyond, what's going on in your life. That's what we're here for. We're here for people. And you get to do the same thing as you're building your team and your culture. And as you're working with sidelines and even your upline, you have a great responsibility and a great influence that you can use for the power of good, right? So I want to encourage you guys to do that, to love people, to learn how to, serve people better, to create those atmospheres and just to pour yourself out, pour into people's lives. I put a quote up on my Facebook yesterday that says, in order to build into people, what is it? In order to add value to people, there we go. In order to add value to people, you must value people. That's John Maxwell. And so important to what we're doing. We want to make sure that we're adding value. We want to make sure that we're truly caring about people. And I promise you, your business is going to grow through that. Your business is going to be positively impacted when people can tell that you care about them genuinely and you're just not trying to make a sale with them. Okay. So some of you, if you don't feel like, and just be honest with yourself, if you don't feel like you care about people enough, ask God to give that to you. That's something I've done in my life. There was a point where I said, look, I've been a pastor for years. I've been working with people, but I don't think I love people the way that I want to, the way that I can. And so I started asking God, would you help me see people the way you see people? would you help me to love people so that I don't have to, it's not so much effort for me to love people, but that it's just springing out of who you're creating me to be. And he has been faithful to answer that prayer in my life. And so I encourage you guys to pray the same thing if you want to, if you feel like you want to love people more and see people the way that God sees them. So, okay, for this week, you guys, I want you to finish the rest of the book. And then next week, I want to, if we've got time, and I think we will, I want to tackle some of your questions, things that you've been thinking about, talking points that you would love to see touched on. And I want to encourage you guys to send those to me. So I'm going to make a post on my Facebook here in just a minute when we hop off. And I want you guys to comment below, and you can comment, now all the way up until when we meet next week of questions, that you would like to cover, topics you'd like to see covered before next week. And it can be through your reading or something maybe we've even already touched on. That's fine too. You can also feel free to inbox me on Facebook as well, and I'll be looking for those. So I want to pray for you guys, and then we will close out for today. Okay. God, I thank you so much for these people that you have allowed me to sit with and drink my coffee next to today. And I pray for each one, for each face that is represented on this call right now, and for each person that's going to be listening to later. God, that we would see people as you see people, that you would put a love in us that we didn't even think was possible, that we would have a grace for people, that we would see things that we would not all otherwise know if you hadn't shown them to us. God, that we would have a sensitivity to them, and that we would take very seriously the fact that you've given people to us to influence and to care for, especially as we grow and as we lead in our businesses. So God, I pray for a team of leaders here that is growing, that is moving forward, that has integrity, and that is able to go after big stuff and chase big dreams. And I just pray, God, for your blessing on each person within my earshot right now. God, thank you. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen. All right. Thank you guys so much for being on today with me. It's so good to see your faces. And we will meet here next week for the very last time. So please feel free to hop over to my Facebook and comment. You're welcome, Michelle. Thank you. Comment on there, and we will make sure that we try to cover some of those topics as we have time. Okay, you guys, take care.